Pinan Sandan. Hey! 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 Okay, so we've got to here. Now the final moves is Pinan Sandan. So you come up just slightly wider than your shoulders. Yeah? Remember this position here. Now we go across. Now we're going to go across to where that foot position was. You're slightly wider than your yoi stance. So right foot in. Then to finish, left foot, right foot. So from here, step forward and we've done punch. So we come up and across and we try and get back to where our foot originally was. And yamen. And left foot, right foot. Nore. We're going to be looking at the applications of that, the bunkai or the Keisetsu. I've seen various attempts at explaining it, and the one that we're going to do now, I learnt with Sensei Kamizawa. I've seen ones where you drop down and you're going across and you're coming up in MP and punching. If you believe that or you want to do that, that's fine, not a problem. This one, it's a little bit more entertaining, a little bit more involved. So I'm going to demonstrate that with the help of my two colleagues this time. As you know, we have Sensei Kerry, and the newcomer to the scene is 50% of the editing, filming and editing team, Simon. Okay, so guys, right? Okay, let's hope we don't hurt Simon too much. Okay. So, we've stepped forward and punched, but this time they grab. Kerry's here to try and attack. So I need to move out the way. So if you don't do that at the sec, just while I'm there. So when I go forward, I want to be engaging this to have some effect on here. And I'm grabbing. I'm trying to slow it down so as you can see the grab. And I'm coming round the neck. Got them here. Choke, but also this way. This one, this goes in. Not only choking, but you're actually attacking. Then Sensei Kerry is trying to punch me here. But I'm going to put Simon in the way. And again, I've gone the other way. Now to finish it off, pushing back at the attacker. I'm sure if you practice this one, you'll enjoy it. So we try it the other side just to show you. Again, Sensei Kerry's here, trying to punch me. I'm going to be moving away. And I want to be turning to grab. In deep. Coming round and lock. Then push across. Take the other side into the lock. Actually like a mirror image of the one uke. So the one will be here. Then I'm pulling him across, so as I'm using him as a barricade. Then push away. And up. Wish. One last, okay, thank you guys. One last item that once you've gone through your kata, if we started from here, then really when you finish your moves, okay, right leg, left leg, right leg, You need to be about 1, 2, stand up. That gives you an idea whether you've used the correct lengths of stances, correct widths. You've actually kept the centre line. So it's a good check for centre line and your stances. When you finish, try 1, 2, stand up. If it's too far away, just cheat. No, you just natural step in. Two steps, that should be fine.
So on the previous videos, we've had a look at the history of the Pinan Kata series. And as mentioned, they were created by Anko Itosu. And people have said it was for children, but he actually taught his adult students as well. Interesting in the name, I think in sort of Japanese, Pinan translates as peace or tranquility. But in the more Chinese perspective of the name, it means stay safe. People have argued that he named them Pinan because by practicing the techniques, learning the techniques and the bunkai and the applications, you could stay safe in a combat situation. Funakoshi changed it to Heian, which is more Japanese sounding, to make it more appealing to Japanese people on the Japanese mainland. So a little bit of sort of history of the kata. It feels from practicing the bunkai and the applications we've done for this kata and the research and training, it feels like a step up from the first two. It feels like it's more complicated and the ideas that are in it are more complicated. Certainly with katas like Naihanchi, Seishan, 3 to 5 years, students would practice those katas full time. And it wasn't just a case of, repeating the kata over and over again to 3 or 5 years. It was looking at every aspect of every movement, every possible permutation of outcome or application of those movements until you had an absolute total understanding and usable version in your mind. If anything happened, you didn't need to think about it. You just instantly reacted using the techniques you spent 3, 5 years learning. So I'm not sure what the length of time Itosu would have taught these students this, but potentially even if it was only a year full time with your Pinan Nidan, Pinan Shodan, by the time you got to Sandan, you would have had quite a few years of practice. And certainly it feels like a step up from the first two in complexity. So hopefully what we can show today with the applications and the ideas, that will be reflected in the fact it is a little bit more advanced and a little bit more along the road. So with the series so far, we've been doing key points that you can take away from this kata. So when you're practicing, you can keep these in your mind and hopefully get the best out of the kata. So Sensei mentioned this concept of using two-handed blocking, Mioto Day, husband and wife hands. So a marriage is a partnership, and this is reflected in the double-handed technique rather than a single-handed technique. And if you've seen the breakdown and key points in application, it does make a difference. You can sort of cover ground and make it more of an attacking move rather than a static defensive move. Mioto Day is very, very common in Okinawan systems. They almost exclusively use double-handed blocking. So this is probably going back to its original Okinawan roots and reintroducing Mioto Day rather than single-handed blocking. So something certainly worth experimenting with in your partner work, because it does make a significant difference. The second point is Okinawan had its own wrestling and grappling system called Tagumi. And karate seems to have lost its throwing techniques. 100 years ago, karate was a much more rounded system. Gichin Funakoshi's books contain 9 throws. So clearly in his karate system, throwing, wrestling, grappling was an integral part of the art. And with the advent of sports karate, it seems to have got a little bit lost. But Tagumi, wrestling and grappling concepts are certainly in there if you look at them and interpret movements in a slightly different way. And we're doing an application and variation section of the kata. Hopefully we can show you some of those from more of a grappling Tagumi perspective than a traditional block punch karate perspective. So that might sort of change your perception of the kata a little bit. Third key point is, as Sensei mentioned, it's almost like a gateway into more advanced katas like Seishan. And again, Seishan is using this Myoto Dei principle, double hands blocking. So people say this came from Pinan Kata and Kushanku, but there's also elements of other systems and other more advanced katas in there. So if you sort of think of your Sandan as using Myoto Dei, then Seishan is not going to be such a difficult leap to grasp this concept. The final point, and again Sensei mentioned this in the breakdown, is weight shifting. It's not static. There is a definite shift in weight downwards and forwards. And this hand movement, this Myoto Dei, allows you much more easily to achieve that. Your body is moving in that direction rather than it being on the spot. So again, a little bit of introduction to weight shifting, which becomes more and more important as you go through the syllabus and get more advanced in your training. So this is a good place to start thinking about it and trying to apply it.